Next.
Salutations, the name's Cavill.
I remember. What happened this time?
Look, I keep getting fired, but it's not my fault. I need a community with more snakes like me.
Considered being a cartoon reviewer? The only requisite is covering Spongebob.
Guess it's worth a shot. But what's left? An episode review, a character analysis, a list of problems?
Look, we have a dozen more creative wasp-ups in line. Just muss them all together and clear the room, please.
Are you ready, viewers? Because I have one solitary question. Which SpongeBob character is best? Now, I'll be avoiding secondaries, so no Miss Puff, Gary, or Pearl. I was planning to cover Sandy, because what is this, a boys club? But looking at the episodes she's affected, it's not really worth it. She's had far more episodes than the aforementioned, but she's still a non-entity, even in the early seasons. This begs a question though, because Flanderization hit this show harder than any other. When I bring up Patrick Star, am I talking about Season 1 or Season 8? The answer is yes. I'm weighing all the characters' positive behavior against all their negative, regardless of season. In other words, sorry Patrick, I'm not wasting time with you. All the Wumbos and ugly barnacles in the world don't make yours, mine, and mine worth it. That sure was a negative start, so why don't we raise our spirits by moving on to Squidward? I joke, but Squidward is definitely the hardest character to judge. He was crass in the early seasons, which is why he was my favorite. Honestly though, his rudeness seemed to get toned down over time, replaced by the universe declaring vengeance, leading to the show's worst episodes. We've seen his dreams dashed, his body mutilated, and the writers decide that actions are immoral specifically because it's Squidward doing them. But is any of this an excuse to hate Squidward himself? He made Band Geeks and Pizza Delivery, but did he really break Cephalopod Lodge and Squid TV? Well, I flipped a coin to decide, and as usual, fate is against Squidward. This means when the universe is cruel towards a character, I diagnose the character themselves as being the problem. This is another reason I'm not covering secondaries, because there are so many episodes terrorizing them like Pal for Gary, Someone's in the Kitchen with Sandy, or Boat Smarts. It's weird they seem to exclusively target innocent people. When Krabs is the antagonist, he'll usually win in some respect, even in the early seasons. Whether it's losing something along the way like in Clams, or the prize sucking like in Arg, sometimes he actively benefits like in Karate Choppers, but at the best of times he faces generic karma like in Jellyfish Hunter and Patty Hype. This clearly isn't an accident. Why would the crew let Mr. Krabs off the hook more often than Squidward? Especially considering how often he goes off the rails like in Squeaky Boots. I believe it's how often SpongeBob comes to him for help and even mentorship. There aren't any episodes dedicated to it other than maybe Wet Painters, but there are little moments of Krabs trying to set SpongeBob straight. Hooky, Sailor Mouth, Pickles, it's hard to deny he cared about SpongeBob deep in that curmudgeonly shell. And here's a hot take, that quality never really vanished, even in horrible episodes like The Splinter or To Love a Patty. Too many episodes forget it, like Krusty Chronicle or Scent of Money, but like I said, the pre-movie seasons were no stranger to this. He cares about his crew from the offset, but won't hesitate to sell them out. This is how he's always been. Flanderization is a small factor of his bad episodes. So I never really liked Mr. Krabs, but you know who I did love? SpongeBob. Squidward made Band Geeks and Pizza Delivery, but really, what would they be without SpongeBob? However, as the main character, I'd say he had the most derailment, basically having 3 different portrayals. Best is number 1, completely mindless. And I don't mean brainless like Patrick, though it often manifests that way. I mean that the writers have him do whatever progresses the plot or joke with the least effort. The worst example is A Pal for Gary, but it's littered throughout episodes like Little Yellow Book, Demolition Doofus, Good Neighbors, One Course Meal, To Love a Patty, House Fancy, Keep Bikini Bottom Beautiful, Stuck in the Ringer, Pineapple Fever. I really want to go on and on because this is his default. Much worse is portrayal number 2, An Obnoxious Child. I think it stems from the fact they started writing Squidward as an everyman, but they remember SpongeBob annoying him, so now they make SpongeBob annoy the audience too. I'd say this portrayal comes the closest to properly representing SpongeBob, as he used to be quite naive, but this was peppered with areas of wisdom and overwhelming ethics. But the word ethics can't be uttered near his worst portrayal, an obsessive psychopath. Most cartoons have 1 or 2 distinctively disturbing episodes, like Stimpy's Fan Club, Raggedy Android, The Joy, and Dark Harvest. Usually the characters deal with a conflict unique for being physically gruesome or psychologically painful. We often spend the entire episode just watching the characters crack under a type of pressure we never could have anticipated. SpongeBob has more of these episodes than you'd think. The best being the Nasty Patty, when he accidentally killed someone and hid the body from the police. But then they changed gears, and now SpongeBob usually is the terror. The main character terrorizing everybody else can work if horror is in the premise, like Invader Zim or Rick and Morty. But SpongeBob is the face of innocent children's shows, and it isn't fun to watch him lure someone into a pixel-perfect replica of their own home. It also isn't fun to watch him physically detain and torture someone so he can sing for them. It also isn't fun to watch him stalk somebody until they're trapped together in a daily routine. It also isn't fun to watch him permanently cripple somebody and casually joke about it.